Do 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 do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Whoa!
It's time for RWBY Maniacs.
It's a thing now. I never believe that we have gone live. I don't believe it.
Believe it. Believe it, stupid human.
Don't you date bio me.
So everybody, we gotta convince Brian to watch Naruto. That's the
No.
assignment.
You drop that shit, Katie. You drop that right now.
Brian,
Everybody
you're gonna
just
have
watch
to do
it.
it. I'm sorry. It's required watching.
Brian,
And then
give me
you
that-
can see
give me that
the
sweet,
new
sweet
season.
link.
I know. I'm doing it.
Isn't
Yeah.
there like a Naruto Next Generation
Yes.
thing
It's called
airing
Baruto.
now?
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
lame as the
called
name
Burrito.
sounds, I have to give them credit because it relates to the protagonist's uncle's name, which means screw. Boruto's is supposed to mean bolt. Bolt and screw.
Welcome to the pre-show where we discuss not RWBY, and instead everybody tries to convince me to watch Naruto.
Damn straight.
To be fair, I haven't
You
tried
are
to
my
convince you of
friend.
anything.
I know you're more. Wakandemo.
We
You are my
are fighting Team Dreamers.
Team Dreamers.
Oh my
Brian,
God.
please watch Naruto
Fighting
Team
Team
Dreamers.
Dreamers.
We are RWBY Dreamers.
Oh my god.
I'm so excited to talk about this episode, y'all.
Oh, same.
What an
We are
intro.
Renora Team Dreamers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this was a hell of an episode.
So much
Yeah.
happened.
You turned the brood up to 11.
Yeah.
Yep, solid
Yep.
11. Solid.
Solid 11.
The edge factor is also up in the scale too.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
brood, we got the edge, the angst. Maybe not so much angst. A little bit of angst.
I mean,
Yeah.
definitely harsh words were said.
This is true.
Mhm.
This is true.
Not
So-
without good reason, by the way.
So let's well, some of them without good reason. So basically y'all should know the drill by now, but in case you don't, hey guys, we're talking RWBY Volume 8 Chapter 4 Fault, which is currently only available on Rooster Teeth for Rooster Teeth First members. So if you are not a first member and you haven't seen the episode and you care about spoilers,
Yay.
we're talking.
Yes.
We're talking
Spoilers,
about
the
the latest
title is a
episode.
pun.
of RWBY.
Yep.
It's a pun. I didn't get
It is.
that. I now get that. If you don't get that, then watch the episode again. It's a pun.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Ah,
don't want to be spoiled, get out. This is your
Yes.
final warning, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, should we get into
all
it?
right.
Still can.
Yeah, all right. Your spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Ren's a little bitch.
I mean, I think Ren's hitting his breaking point is what's happening.
Oh
Which is
my
about damn
God.
time.
We've been circling this train for a while now. This is-
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get into it, should
Yeah,
we-
let's
Who-
start
who
at
are
the
we?
beginning. Oh yeah, who are we?
We
I
didn't do the who
I
are we
just
bit.
assumed that people know us by now. Hey
I mean-
everybody. Hey everybody, my name is Brian. I'm the head of the audio department here at RWBY Productions, and I voice Neptune in RWBY Purged. And with me today I have
Hi, my name is Ian. I seem to be the only sane person left in this podcast. God help us all. I admin for the RWBY Productions Discord server. I am Ventress, and if you're having any problems on the Discord, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to hear what you have to say. God, who's next? Hey Forrest, who the fuck are you?
Good question. I'm here to talk about RWBY. That's what I'm here to do on
Forrest
this
is-
podcast.
Forrest is just over here like Nora in the last episode, like, I don't know who I am.
Who? What am I? Without.
I mean,
Well, as we established in the last episode, I cease to exist in between podcasts. I just dematerialize and then reappear at 5 p.m. every Sunday.
Seems legit.
Heck yeah.
What about you, Katie?
Hi, I'm Katie. I go by Connie Day on the internet. You can see me in chat there, hecking it up with Gamble. Yeah, dude. So essentially at RWBY, I voice White Schnee, Penny, Cinder, and Velvet. I also am a producer and director on the channel. I also have done some writing stuff and other stuff on the channel before. I do all the RWBY things, and I want to take this opportunity to also say that I help a little bit with our Twitter. Blah. I'm all heckin' coffee because we're in the snow in RWBY, and it's really chilly, so I've got like the chills.
Fair.
But yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at RWBYABRG, where we tweet about little RWBY things. We retweet funny stuff sometimes. We make announcements. It's all fun stuff. We also, of course, have our public Discord server and our Patreon Discord server, where where every weekend from now, while RWBY is airing, we are going to do watch parties where we watch the episodes when they come out for free. So this previous weekend, we watched episode 3, and then we have like a little discussion and we discuss theories and things like that. And it's pretty fun. And yeah, we had a pretty good time doing that. And we're excited to watch this episode this coming Saturday and have like little discussions. And yeah, that is who I am. And that's some RWBY talk. All right, back to you, Brian.
Hell yeah.
What is this, a newscast?
Yes. The RWBY News Corner is back. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think we start out this episode, and we are in the cell block with Robyn and Papa Schnee and Crow and previously Watts.
Previously Watts and Watts again.
And Watts again, yes.
Yep.
Which makes me question what's going on.
Yeah, and so the first thing that I noticed is that like Robyn is kind of uncharacteristically upbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's very chipper.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's because she's been in here before. Or
yeah, if anyone's
something
used
like
to
it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
going to jail, Robyn's probably like, yeah, this is,
Understand? No big deal.
Yeah, like she's just kind of chilling, having a good time, trying to make people laugh. Isn't doing a very good job of it.
Yeah, Papa Schnee's over here like playing with a fly, like being tormented by.
I mean, in terms of torment, that's not much, but I guess for, Papa Schnee, who's used to having, his toilet paper used for him, I guess that might be difficult.
little bit.
It's like flies. We don't have those in my manor. What is this?
We have anti-fly technology.
Yes.
Anti-fly technology. Oh my God.
But yeah, so unsurprisingly, Robyn doesn't blame Crow for what happened with Clover. Saw that coming.
And she does confirm she used her magic, handshake on him, right?
I don't think she
Basically.
confirmed that. I think she said that she could confirm it.
Yeah, if Harriet wanted.
I think she implied that, because she wouldn't be telling, because later we see
Yeah.
Hare come in. I don't think she'd be telling Hare, hey, believe me, he didn't do it, if she hadn't done
At the very
handshake
least,
thing
she's
first.
confirming she knows Crow is telling the truth and she's on his side.
Yeah, also
Yeah.
you need to remember that like they haven't been in the cell block the entire time. Like
Yeah.
Robyn was in the same crash that Crow was.
Yeah.
So like she probably woke up and Crow was like, this is what happened, and then they like grabbed hands and she was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, you're telling the truth.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Crow feels responsible for Clover's death. No shit.
Little
I
fair.
wonder why.
You should, I think you should feel responsible for that, my guy.
I mean, he should, but I'm still irritated at the circumstances that brought it about more than anything. I'm still disgruntled that he made that call. I don't think he would have
he
made
says
that
like it
call.
was like like split decision kind of things, but they were fighting for a good long while. Like it wasn't. There was nothing split decision-y about it necessarily.
Yeah. Like it was a quote unquote split decision, and it was a really bad decision. So like Robyn coming in and being like, "Oh no, it's not your fault." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, Robyn. It totally is his fault."
Well, he's feeling real bad about it, and making him feel worse about it. Like her beating him up is not going to do anything. He's already beating himself up over it. He knows he effed up. So like,
I mean, but like, don't lie to the man. Just be like, so, yeah, you did a dumb. It wasn't good. Things were bad. People got hurt. Writing was questionable.
Maybe
like but there were mistakes were made. But you recognize the mistake. And that's all you can do. So it's good that you recognize it and you move on from it.
Yeah,
and learn from it.
And bottom line is that you didn't kill him. Was there some fault there? Sure. But, what Harriet's saying isn't true. And I'll stand by you.
Yeah, you did not kill him.
Yeah, the guy doing the stabbing.
You built the circumstances in which he died, but you did not kill him.
I mean, that's all fair. It feels so much like she's coming. Either it's awkward because she hasn't necessarily had this conversation where she knows what she's talking about, and I'm not quite sure which one is which, because we hear her comment that when something about her semblance, that when you can tell when somebody's lying, it can make relationships hard.
Yeah, I will say, White Wolf in the chat saying it was Clover's fault for not using his head. I disagree. Clover was following orders.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that's just
apprehend.
That's how it be in the military, and he was like really cordial about it too. Like he was literally like, "Hey, we don't need to fight here." He's like, "Listen, I just want to let you know, I have these orders, Crow." Like, and so it was very much a like, all right, this is the situation we're in. What are we going to do about this? And Robyn was the one that was getting all hot-headed.
For someone who's so cool in her jail cell now, she really didn't want to go back there.
Well, right. Well, Gamble, you're right. You're not a mindless drone in the military. But, like, what other information did Clover have to go on at that point? Like, he didn't know that Ironwood was going crazy yet. Like, he just got this order. He was probably like, look, I don't have all of the information on this, but these are my orders, so until I have more information, I should probably follow my orders.
Yeah, and I mean, we can talk in circles all day about, the fault when it came to that situation from a while ago, but I think when it comes to this scene in particular, the here and the now, one thing that I did like is I really appreciated the way Robyn did stand her ground to Harriet, because Harriet could beat the fuck out of her, but she was like, no, I'm gonna talk to you and you're gonna say this shit. But like, I really liked the one-liner that Robyn used on Harriet when Harriet was trying to intimidate her.
Well, before we get to Harriet, right? Because Robyn says some other interesting stuff. So yeah, obviously Crow feels responsible for Clover's death, and there's some blame there. I think that there's also some blame on Robyn, but that clearly doesn't seem to register to her. But Crow says that he felt for the first time he could be around someone without his semblance making things complicated. So he's kind of like super bummed that he managed to get that person killed.
Do you think that implies that he's gotten somebody else killed because of that before? Or is it just the strained relationships kind of thing?
I definitely think that this has happened before, and I think that this goes back to one of our earliest theories, which is that Crow is absolutely the reason why Summer Rose is dead.
That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point,
Um,
that's the best theory we really got because you know what? We have no other context for how that happened.
Yeah. Or if she's truly quote unquote dead, or if she was kidnapped, or if she ran away. Because we don't have a body.
We have a great
Mhm.
stone, but
True.
we don't have no body. We ain't seen,
We ain't
and
got no
even if we
body.
saw the body, would we
Yeah.
trust the body?
Also, addressing White Wolf in the chat again. Yeah, arrest him for something he didn't do because it's an order, right? And if you don't have information that tells you that really explicitly tells you that that order is wrong, if you don't follow that order, then you're going to get in really, really serious trouble. So I really think that Clover acted according to his best judgment there, and I think his judgment was sound.
Yeah, court
Well,
martial is not pleasant.
Yeah.
what's interesting to me is that we got to see, as we're seeing Ironwood's descent into villainhood, right? And he just blowing away civilian leaders of his country. We saw most of the Aesops there, and they kind of look shocked, but then we're like, okay, well, I guess murdering civvies, that's what we do now. Okay, cool. Don't feel good about that, but orders are orders. I don't know that Clover would have felt the same way. Honestly.
I don't think he
had
would
he
have.
been there, he might have challenged Ironwood on that.
I think you're correct, especially because he was essentially like the leader of the Aesops.
Yeah.
And I think
Right,
the
and-
Aesops would have followed his lead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I think they
the
would've had
rest of
his
the
back.
Aesops basically, now that Clover is gone, they don't have their leader. They're kind of leaderless, and so I think that they're looking to Ironwood for that leadership,
There's a
right?
power vacuum there, yeah.
Yeah, and so without Clover there, they're not quite sure what to do, and they don't necessarily want to step out of a situation where they no longer have a leader. But I agree with you, Forrest. I think that had Clover been there, I think the first place that all the rest of the Aesops would have looked to was Clover.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he would
Yeah.
not have been okay with that. I mean,
No.
whether or not he would have at that moment stepped up to Ironwood and said in front of like the whole team, "Hey, that was the wrong call," I kind of doubt. But hey, General, can we talk about what just happened, like in your office? I feel like we need to talk about this. And Ironwood would have probably just blown him off, but like,
Yeah. No,
he would have had some misgivings about that.
Yeah, Clover was definitely by far, I think, the most level-headed, most pragmatic of the Aesops. And yeah, I think that him
guess-
being in a leadership position himself, I think he would have been one to question what's going on far more. That being said, one of the things that that Robyn said that I thought was interesting, and it kind of I didn't realize it until my second watch through, that this statement kind of spans the whole length of the episode. Which is, when people are worried you're going to sniff out their secrets, they tend to push you away. It makes a real connection difficult.
Yes. That keeps coming up this episode.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Vulnerability.
Don't like peeling back the layers of the onion too much.
No.
I mean, imagine being the person who can tell if you're lying. Imagine how kind of awkward that can be. Especially even if you're in a relationship and you're committed to someone, you still have a couple things you keep to yourself that you don't want anybody to know about. That can make opening up difficult.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. So, Watts is thrown back in his cell. And no surprise, Hare is, of course, convinced that Crow killed Clover.
Yeah, of course.
And, and she makes her case, which is, of course, well, it was your weapon that killed him. And then that's where we get to the part that you were talking about a little earlier, Katie, with Robyn kind of confronting Hare, and and basically saying, look, you're you're not interested in the truth. You're just interested in having somebody to blame.
Yep. And
Uh,
it's such a good moment because I think that's something that a lot of people wish they could say when confronted with situations like that, where someone
mhm.
is just speaking from rage and power, like from wanting to hold on to that power and not actually, like Robin said, confront the side that she's on, like actually look
Mhm.
like rationally at the side she's on. And that's also, even though Robin doesn't know what happened, that in that moment Harriet is probably thinking like, yeah, whatever, Ironwood shot that dude, but blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like Harriet's,
She's
I think the way that
rationalizing
it's
it.
going,
She's rationalizing
yeah,
it away in her head.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Like I was just this and this, and like he had to, and like because she doesn't want to be, she doesn't want to be a bad guy, and so she'll deny anything it takes to be able to say our side is justified, and that's why she's the most, I think, extreme on the team in terms of trying to. She wants that leader. She wants so desperately to cling to someone being a leader. Like if there's anyone that I think is going to be rational and maybe step away and not follow maybe a particularly difficult order, I think it's I can't remember their name, but it's the one that has the stay power.
Oh, the dog faunus.
Yeah, dog guy.
Yeah.
Like he's given me a
Marrow.
vibe because in that scene
Marrow.
he was like, what yeah, Marrow. He was like, what are you doing, Harriet? Because like he can tell like she is being irrational, and I think he's got a bit of a head on his shoulder. He's scared and he's still following stuff, but I think when the situation gets particularly rough, I think that maybe a few of the other members will come to their senses. But I'm holding out for Marrow. I think he's going to step away.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
agree. I think he's the emerald of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the most empathetic.
And he's got the
Yeah.
best ability that would be used to help our boys. So.
That would be pretty. What would it? Okay, so if he turns on the Aesops to help out Team RWBY at some later episode, and he uses the stay power first on all of his teammates, and then they can just take him down without a fight. How upset are you going to be that he didn't
I'm gonna
do
be
that?
very upset.
I'm not sure how I feel about just Marrow defecting. I honestly, because Harriet didn't have misgivings. Elm and Vine were rather professional about it, but I'm not sure if it would just be Marrow or if Elm and Vine would also. It's like, all right, he's gone too
Oh
far.
yeah.
That's it. That's over. Harriet might be the one that says, no, he's the good guy. We're we're gonna stick with Ironwood, or we're all gonna fight. And it'd be intriguing to see if the three of them had to take down Harriet or try to, because that would be
Yeah, no,
difficult.
I do think that there's others that that I could totally see doing it too. Mara's just my top pick of one that I'm like 99% sure is gonna come through. I think there's others that could, but like yeah, Mara is my top pick.
Marrow will definitely be defecting. Wouldn't it be funny if both our defecting groups teamed up?
Bro,
I'm,
Marrow and Emerald.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that that Harriet is gonna defect. I think she's gonna be the hardest to defect,
Oh,
but
eventually, but I'm
I
talking
think
about
that
first,
she will.
you know?
Yeah.
I think
Like
she'll definitely
I think
defect
eventually,
later.
yeah,
Yeah.
like she'll come through, but it's gonna
I
take
think all of
the other
Aesops will
squad
probably come
first, you know.
I think it's going to take someone to fill that leadership role. And hey, who do we know who could possibly fill that position? Somebody who was going to be a Winter Maiden but now can't be, and is kind of disenfranchised with this whole Ironwood thing and doesn't really know what to do about it.
I'm a disagree with you, Forrest.
All right.
Because I think that a big point of this season, and especially the point of the whole stuff with Ironwood and the Aesops and everything, is this idea of not blindly following people into into hell, just because you have orders, right? Especially when you can see that there's some really nasty shit going on, and not being oblivious to that. So I actually think that the arc here is going to be the Aesops learning how to think for themselves without a leader.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. But I grant you that. But who's the most stubborn of them all? Who's the
Oh, definitely
blindest of them all? Well, no, I'd say Winter is even worse off than the Aesops. Like the Aesops,
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
she's at least as bad as Harriet. Come on.
I don't think
don't
so. I
think
think
so.
she's more in the. I honestly think she's more in the Marrow camp right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, like
She's
if what you're arguing is that it's going to take a little bit to get Winter to defect, sure. But I don't think that Winter's in the place that Harriet is in terms of, yeah, let's beat these fuckers up. How dare they say shit to me? Like
Mhm.
because I think if Harriet was in the same situation Winter was when her little sister and everybody were trying to escape, Winter was like, I'm giving you a head start. Like
Yeah.
I don't think Harriet would have done that shit. Harriet would have been like, I'm gonna shoot you in the
Yeah.
head, motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
I'm about to beat
Winter-
you up while you're in your cell. How dare you question me? Like she's in a fragile place right now. Winter
Yeah.
is too, but
Winter-
not in the she's not on the edge in the same way Harriet is.
Yeah, Winter actively let them go.
Yeah.
And you can see you could see like the look on Winter's face like when Ironwood shot that dude. Like
Yeah.
it was very much this look of like, oh no, have I made a mistake?
yeah.
But she's been his right hand for a long time. Like her turning on Ironwood is gonna take, and Penny's been working on her, and Weiss defecting has definitely, I think, helped her get there. But it's been a long road, and I think there's more.
It's gonna take some effort for sure.
I think
Oh,
there's gonna be more to that.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited
Hopefully-
for that too.
Hopefully, we'll see the start of that. Some more of that particular fracturing in the next few. Do we know how many episodes are this season? I'm not
I
sure.
think what did they say? It was like 14 this season?
Wow.
13 or 14, I forget.
We've got a long way to go,
yeah.
and we've already gotten some pretty juicy stuff.
I mean, we're about
We
a third
have.
of the way through, or at least we will be next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I got a bunch of people in the chat saying 14.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Good.
Plus or
But
minus
yeah,
like an
no.
extra like in between holiday thing to tide us over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, bottom line, I really liked that scene between Robin and Harriet. I think it was really good to their characters, and I think it was just a really well done piece of dialogue there. Like I think
Mhm.
it really stuck. It really hit for me.
Well,
Agreed.
the other thing that kind of stuck out to me there was that, as she's kind of egging Hare on to, take her hand and and learn the truth, right? She gets pulled away by Marrow, and
Mhm.
she's like, oh, I'm doing nothing, and and Robin has this line where she says, she lies back down on her cot and says, well, that was almost exciting. Which,
Yeah, she's looking for a fight.
yeah, she's
Mhm.
which is like, makes me think like, oh man, because like I said before, she is sort of acting a little out of character from what we've seen previously in the cell block, where she's chipper, she's upbeat, she's trying to crack jokes and make people smile, whereas previously she's been kind of like this really serious, like, we're gonna fucking change things, and how anybody who thinks differently than me, how dare they,
Fight
right?
you.
I'm gonna fight you. And so it was nice to kind of have that return to form at the very end, and it really made me be like, so how much of everything that you just said was a ruse?
Well, she did want to be a politician.
Well, I mean, right, but a politician would actively want the other person to know the truth, and that really seemed to be simply a ploy to punch Harriet in the face.
I mean, I wonder if she wasn't just gonna like let Harriet take her hand, answer the question, and then sock her in the face. The two are not mutually exclusive, mind you.
True, because Robin does want, the good for her people, and I don't think that the scene where Robin, or I don't think all of Robin's dialogue was necessarily a ruse. I do think that Robin has shown that she can be positive in terms of entirely chipper. I understand where you're coming from, but I do think I do think that we have seen Robyn want to, have that passion and have, that desire to help and love. And I mean, that's why she's doing what she's doing. And so I do think that her trying to like cheer Crow up isn't entirely out of character. And I don't think she was full on like rusing like, heh, I'm scheming before they get here to punk Crow or something. But I do think that that moment with Harriet, there was a lot of genuine wanting Harriet to see the truth behind it. But I do, yeah, also agree that I think there could maybe be a face punch that she desired as well.
Well, I think Robyn's a very quick to judge sort of character. Like, maybe she was willing to like, okay, Harriet, you want to learn the truth, you want to know what really happened, take my hand. But if you reject that offer, we're enemies. Like that,
I really think she was going for a fight. I really do. I mean, maybe
I don't doubt it.
Maybe seeking the truth was part of that, but like
Like
I'm
the
quite
ratio of
certain she
truth
was.
to fight is debatable. I think both were in the air, but it could have easily been more fight than truth.
I think it was probably a little more fight than truth, considering her last line.
For sure.
I don't know. I would like to think that Robyn, being the politician, would have at least answered the hand thing first before punching Harriet in the face.
Oh, definitely.
See,
'Cause that
here's
would be
the
a lot
thing,
more
though.
helpful.
Here's the thing, though. I've never gotten the impression that Robyn is a good politician. Right.
I don't know.
Like,
I do.
Robyn, remember, Robyn she's basically a militia. Like, she's got her own little militia group that's going around stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Yeah,
like,
but
she doesn't have as much of an issue with the idea of breaking laws.
I get that, but also she knows how to use her semblance. Note how she comments on how much has affected her life. I think she would be rational enough to use her semblance first before having her fist collide with Harriet's very punchable face right now.
I think what's happening here is I think you're trying to justify it through a more, quote unquote politician lens. But I think one character trait that we've seen from Robyn is that she is passionate and does let emotions drive her. And that can be good and bad. And I think in that scene, her desire because with the work that she does, it comes from a place of passion for justice, and she does seek truth. And her semblance, she uses that to try to get people to see the truth. Whenever she uses it, she doesn't like lie about what she saw. She's like, I want people to see the truth. And so I think in that moment, she wanted Harriet to truly see the truth because, again, passion for good, but then also because she is emotional, she would also be easily tempted and probably was also thinking like, ooh, and maybe I'll also get to punch Harriet, yay. Like, I think it can be both, because I think that it wasn't necessarily coming from a plotting place, it was coming from an emotional passion place.
Right, and I think that's
of the person that she is.
And that is honestly the reason why ever since ever since Robyn's been introduced, I've kind of hated her. I cannot stand how much she is driven by her emotions.
I think she makes for an interesting character, though. Like, I think you can not like if she was a real person, you can be like, no, I wouldn't like this person, but also be like, no, but I think this is a good.
I never said that she was a bad character. I just said that I hated her.
That's fair.
I've never liked when she was on screen.
Well, then if she's doing a good job, then
yeah, maybe her purpose is for people like you to not like her. But hell yeah.
I find Robyn and her mindset quite infuriating.
I'm sure you would. Not without good reason, but
So but
to
anyways,
right?
Yeah, moving into so Yang, Zhan, and Ren are continuing to chase after Oscar.
Yeah, cool motorbike shit.
And yeah, we get a cool little action scene here. They're chasing. Smarty Marty calls for backup. Makes things a little harder.
A little bit.
And Yang and Jean end up going over a cliff, but Ren manages to save them. However, they lose Oscar in the process.
Yeah, but they see scary Whaley. What was our name?
Killy Willy.
Killy Willy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that they unfortunately, Smarty Marty and Oscar get away. And that's pretty much the scene. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk. I mean, it was a cool action scene.
Yeah, it was great to watch, but like in terms of like stuff happening, like, it's easier to move on to the next sequence of dialogue, but I do think it was really fun and like, I really liked a lot of the shots, like especially with like Jean using his semblance to boost Ren into the air, and like the kind of teamwork they were showing. Like, I think it was again, there's a lot of really good moments for Jean in this episode and in this season, I think, just showing how far he's come and how concentrated he is.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good moment for him, like sequence-wise, show, don't tell. Like how much smarter he is, how much prepared he is on the battlefield. Like, he's not the scared boy he was before.
Yeah. He's growing into that role.
Yeah.
Which, despite
Agreed.
that, Ren still calls him out on cheating his way into Beacon.
Well, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
you're jumping a little bit.
I'm not
We've
jumping
got
the
some
gun. I'm
dialogue
just
to get.
commenting. We'll get there. I know.
I just want to say, from that scene, the frickin' Pteranodon Grim, man, they're cool. I like everything about their design.
It was pretty neat. It was pretty heckin' neat. So RWBY and crew then barge into Schnee Manor, and who is there to greet them but Whitley? Look.
You called it, Katie, right? You were talking about.
Here's where I differ. Here's where I differ. All right. I know just a moment ago I was talking about how much I hate fucking Robyn and her mindset and just everything about her. I'm the complete opposite with Whitley.
Gee, I wonder why.
Oh my god.
Like, that boy is such a little shit, and I adore him.
Oh my god, it's great. Because there's going to be some good-ass moments. Because, oh my god, I think he's the perfect, like, little brother character of just, like, been sheltered, is just, trying to seem grown up, is following his father's example. But his badass big sisters are gonna set him straight, and I'm here for the growth. I'm here for it. I'm ready.
Anytime Whitley is on screen, I'm just like, yes, say more words.
Oh my god, you little shit, keep talking.
Oh my god,
it's so fun. I'm so excited for him.
I feel like, is it just me? Weiss was kind of a dick to him, though. I mean, deservedly, sure.
Stern with him. I think that was a sign. Like
that. Yeah. Like, I think, especially if we look back at like Volume 4, right? Weiss was kind of just letting Whitley sort of walk all over her,
Yeah,
and so this is the first time that like Weiss has really truly stood up to him and been like, no, I'm not gonna let you walk all over me. Like, go to your room. Like,
yeah, like, you're adults handling adult shit right now. Like, because the way she said it, like, Whitley, like, you don't understand what's happening right now, but we're handling adult business right now. Because Whitley, when he was speaking from his little, again, kind of only ever followed in his father's footsteps, only really seen things from his father's perspective, his little like, oh, but a reputation. When they're out there fighting a war, like, I think Weiss was very appropriately stern and adult with him. And that's the role that Weiss is growing into. The big sister that's, again, taking after her big sister, Winter, trying to be this huntress that's, trying to save people. And I think that she loves Whitley. And if she wanted to be like an asshole, she could have gone off on him. But I think she was very, like, strong, stern, and I would say loving. Like, not loving from the perspective let me hold you, like, oh, I love you, little bro. But
Tough
like,
love, kind of.
But
yeah,
like,
like you
welcome
could
to the
tell
real
that
world.
there was a genuine, like, it was the genuine respect there of, like, you know, I know it's me saying respect when it's like, go to your room, but no, like, the little brother, the dynamic there of like, listen, like, I'm the adult right now, I want to keep you safe, go, like, we have work to do, like I love you, but I have work to do. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, it didn't feel like there was any nastiness behind her words. It felt like genuine concern and grown up, I have work to do. And I think that's wonderful for Weiss, and I think it's what he needed.
Well, I
Yeah.
think it's interesting to note when she says, "Go to your room." Like, you're a kid. We are still pretty kid-like, but we're more adult
it's
than you.
true.
We're dealing with adult things right here. There's a freaking sky whale. I don't know if you've seen Killy Willy floating out there, but you know, kind of scary, kind of a big deal. Go to your room. We're doing the adult stuff here. Go get out of here, kid.
The adults are talking.
The adults are talking.
And what I think was such a good moment for Whitley there too is Whitley could have been like, well, I'm calling the police. I'm blah blah blah. But the fact that he was like, okay, like, yeah, you know, when Ruby was like, okay, calm down, like, you know, we just need a place to stay low. Like, the fact that he was like, all right, I'll comply, like, shows that there is respect between him and Weiss. And he may, you know, be a little shit, and he may be very sheltered and, like, you know, still kind of in his dad's corner. He's not completely, like, away from changing, and he has a respect and really holds his sister highly.
Well, I want to add to that.
Or is it the rapier in his face?
I mean, I want to add to that in that I think, you know, because it was established last season that Whitley does look up to Weiss.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
maybe in that regard, there is some respect. However, I think more than anything, I think that Whitley is a broken child.
Yeah.
And I think that when he comes face to face with authority, he can't stand up for himself.
Yeah. And I do think that could also, that could create a situation too, where if, you know, while they're there, Whitley might think to himself like, oh God, I need to tell the police that there's a fugitive here. Like, I could see him very well doing that as well. Like if he's faced with a position where he's asked, like, where are these, you know, people hiding? Like, you know, maybe it'll be a piece of development that maybe he'll stand up for his sister. Maybe he'll be like, I don't know where they are. Like, maybe that'll be a moment for him. But he could go either way, and I would believe it. Because, yeah, I agree with you, Brian. And that's why I think his development's going to be so good to see. Because I think, yeah, Weiss is what he needs, and I think she needs him too.
Agreed. Yeah.
It occurs to me that Weiss in this scene is kind of acting like the parental figure he probably hasn't ever had.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, his mom is kind of an absent figure. She doesn't really, like, you know, she's off somewhere else in the house. He mentions it in this scene too, like, she's out, you know, locked in her room, right? She's not taking care of things.
And the way he said it too was also implies like, you know, these are just the dramatics that happen in this household daily. Like, he's used to it. This is the default behavior. And for once, he had authority that was, like, firm and gentle in a way. Like,
right. Well, because his dad certainly is an authority position, but, like, not in a I respect you kind of way. His dad, I'm sure the tactic is, I mean, we see, you know, when his dad kicks him out or whatever in that, like, last season.
Yeah,
there's no respect there. I am the person who matters, and you get out of my hair. You know.
Yeah.
So he hasn't had a parent, like, actually parent him. I think is the problem.
I agree, and I think that especially because Whitley has kind of fallen into line with Jacques, where he's, you know, essentially tried to be like him, probably to gain Jacques' attention, right?
Yeah, because that's what kids do.
Yeah, I think you're right. He hasn't really had a proper authority figure because he hasn't really been at odds with Jacques a whole lot, in that he's been trying to be like Jacques. So, yeah, I think that this is really the first time that he's had, like you said, somebody do an honest to God like parent thing.
Yeah, and one comment I really want to make too, and one thing that I think is really well done with the Schnees is I think that when we first met Weiss, her being that I'm all and everything I say is right. Like I think Winter being for Weiss what Winter was, and also helping her on her journey is also going to be a parallel of what Weiss is going to be for Whitley. What was his name? Whitley? Fuck. Yeah, for Whitley.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful. And I saw a comment that like, oh, he's absolutely gonna betray Weiss. And I think that's true. I think that because Whitley is, still a child and still scared and still thinks his father's right, I think that there is a high probability that Whitley, thinking that he's doing what's best for Weiss because he loves his sister, thinking he's being a big boy grown up, is gonna comply with, maybe with Ironwood or maybe this and that at first. But then I think Weiss will get through to him, but there's going to be a journey of, Whitley's gonna do something that's annoying and dumb first because he's a kid that is afraid and wants to listen to the adults that he thinks he should listen to. And I think that's going to be a really good journey for him, just like when Weiss, like early on, was I mean, she would defend Winter constantly, but like she would defend her dad in some ways too, in the Dust Company, until she was finally like, you know what, like, fuck, this is fucked. Like Weiss eventually came to that, and I think Whitley's going through a similar journey, and it makes me really. That's like one of the things that I've loved about like the Schnees in particular, and why they're my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1 Weiss is not all that different to current Whitley, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
He's maybe a little more obnoxious, but there's some parallels.
He stayed home. He didn't go to school like the way she did.
I need a long dialogue scene between Weiss and Whitley.
Bro, give it to me.
We're definitely getting that. There's no way we're not getting that.
Man. But yeah, so basically, yeah, they've come to Schnee Manor because they need to lay low for a while. Whitley concedes very, very quickly because he has no spine. And then RWBY tries calling Yang, but doesn't get through.
Yeah, that's a beautiful transition there.
Yep, and that's the transition to Yang and crew being stranded because their bike is broken. And I'm so excited to talk about this scene.
Oh, the fucking lid of the pickle jar bursts into the air. The glass is broken. Where do we even begin?
Things that a normal person would have said by now. Well, Ren is over that.
Yeah, Ren is brooding, and he's being somewhat passive aggressive.
Somewhat.
There's been a little bit of buildup of him being passive aggressive. Like,
yeah. This was just This was almost aggressive. This was like.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And Yang confronts him on it, which I liked that it was Yang.
Yeah, it was very natural
on it rather than Jean, despite the fact that Jean was the team leader, because it's really. I mean, I feel like it should be obvious, but it's really within Yang's character description to just not take that kind of shit.
No, I 100% agree. Like, this is a good scene. I really love this scene.
Yeah, because he gets out like, well, I had to save you guys, and that's why we lost Oscar. And she's like, yeah, you've mentioned that a couple of times. This is something that, like, in their walking across the snowfield, they've, like, been talking about, and she's just like, all right, I'm through with this. I'm fed up.
Yeah. And
let's get this out in the open.
It's such a natural, good scene, because I've seen people like this. I've seen people like this is a real type of person that exists that handles situations like this, and I think it was very natural and well done. For like their characters were on point, like in that moment, like it was a very consistent thing going on there. Like I really appreciated the way this conversation happened between all three of them. But yeah, especially the way they go into it, it didn't feel like by the way we're talking about this now, it felt like, oh, here's the tension, and then pin of the grenade was pulled, and like we're in it.
Yeah, because he was like, he's just kind of like every time that Yang tries to talk, like he just kind of shuts her down. You know, and she starts out the conversation being gentle, you know, being like,
Yeah.
you know, whoa, like, you know, you've said that a few times now. Like, is there something that you need to say? Like, she was like, there was nothing aggressive in her tone about that. You know, it was very
Yeah,
much like,
yeah.
hey, like, you seem upset. You know, do we need to talk about something?
Yeah, which shows Yang has developed a lot too. Because I think
Yeah.
one of the things about this scene that it reveals is how much Yang and Jean have grown
Yeah.
over time. And while Ren was keeping it all inside, and you know, later Jean comments, you know, about that to Ren when they are inside. Like, oh, just there's a lot of goodness here that shows how mature her and especially Jean have become.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And so when, you know, he just kind of continues to be passive aggressive because like because the thing that kind of really sparks the argument off is this kind of super passive aggressive comment, which is, you know, no, like it
I don't wanna
wouldn't
waste
do to
time.
waste any more time.
Yep. Even though
Yeah.
we're walking, the time's gonna go the same whether we talk or not. So like clearly that's just him being
Yeah.
That's
He's
him
just
saying,
like,
I don't want to talk about it because
it's
otherwise
basically
I will go
well,
off.
it's him saying talking to you about this issue isn't worth my energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And it's another iteration of that. Well, I had to save you guys. If you hadn't fallen off that cliff, then we might have saved Oscar. You know, like
Yeah.
wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, he says that, but I feel like that's not even like, I understand where his thought process is coming from, but like it's not even true because he was like he was hanging from Smarty Marty for how long, and he never managed to really do anything to like ground him. Like he tried the rock, that didn't work. Like he wasn't even able to get any closer, and it's like, okay, let's say you get up and you actually like get onto Smarty Marty's back. Then what? You're like 300 feet in the air.
And your
I mean-
guns don't seem to have any effect on this creature. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
also, your two other team members are dead because they
Like,
fell off a cliff. You know,
Like, let's be real here. Like, Oscar was gone the moment that Smarty Marty took off with him.
Yeah, and I think what this scene is really just revealing is how pent up all of these little
Mhm.
things have gotten for Ren, and the
Yeah.
fact that because he hasn't been able to communicate and process his feelings, it's just built up and kind of exploded, which is what happens when you're not mature enough to be, or emotionally mature enough to be able to tell people how you feel. And I think it was a really good build up to that in terms of like I believe where he's at.
Oh,
Also, I hear a bit of an echo of my voice real quick. Just wanna
Oh yeah, I do too.
Brian.
Oh, sorry. Hopefully that will go away.
On a brief note, I find it not interesting, but
You've
I
got
feel
you've
kinda
got an
bad.
echo too, Ian.
Uh-oh. What?
Why are we echoing?
Huh? I'm not hearing any echo anymore.
Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah,
But I found when we were talking about who did what, I found it very interesting that Ren could not seem to, as the acrobatic sort of ninja-ish equivalent, could not seem to find a way to get a hold of, you know, the rope and maybe not climb, but at least not slam into every rock that he passed by.
well,
Did that just seem odd to anybody else? I mean, I'm not saying it's
no,
a
it didn't
Japan
seem
thing, but,
odd
like,
because that's how physics works.
I mean,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
yeah,
Momentum
it's just that
sucks.
I feel really bad for Ren because that would seem kind of like his shtick of being able to recover from that, and the fact that he wasn't. It's not that it bothered me. It's like, man, you're just having a bad day.
Having
I
a
mean,
rough-
yeah,
That
I
must
think
not
it
have
could
been
also be
pleasant.
attributed to the fact that he's in a very insecure place. He's kind of reached his breaking point of kind of putting his insecurities onto them. While some of them justified, it's really more of a reflection of how he feels about himself.
Yeah.
Even though, again, a lot of what he's feeling is arguably like could be true, but he's more projecting than anything. And I think maybe even it's a sign when, what you're saying, him hitting the rocks is another sign of him not being able to get a firm grasp on the situation and actually hold his own because he's
Well,
too, yeah.
You could say that. I really think that excuse is not necessary. I think it's just physics. Like, I don't care how much of a ninja you are. Like, if you're fucking hanging on to a cable that's being pulled around corners and being slammed into rocks and stuff, like, you don't have wings. You can't alter your trajectory. Doesn't matter how good of a ninja you are.
It would not necessarily have been him hitting the rocks, but maybe not having such a hard of a landing on them. Like, perhaps putting his feet underneath him instead of slamming into them with his body.
It depends if you can twist your body in that direction.
Yeah.
Well, I love that the next hour of the podcast is just us saying Ren hit the rock weird.
Hey, look, if we're gonna complain about the physics in this show,
oh god, that's an entire podcast.
We already did that last episode. We've established physics doesn't exist in this universe.
I mean, they did break the laws of thermodynamics in one fell swoop. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Yes. It just deletes your mass. Yeah, sure. Okay. No,
yeah.
I think, like, getting back to some of the character stuff, like, I feel like him slamming into all the rocks and stuff, and him projecting, right? Like, he wasn't able to, for whatever reason, whether physics was deleted or whether he just isn't an acrobat or not, like, whatever the reason, he wasn't able to do much in that fight either, right? But instead of confronting that, instead of saying, gee, I feel really unprepared for this. I don't know what what I'm doing. I feel like I'm too young for this. I feel like I'm just a kid and I can't fight the enemies that we're up against. He's like, no, you guys, this is your fault. Like,
well, in fairness to Ren, I mean, he does put a lot of the blame on other people, but he talks about them collectively as a unit. So he's not just saying you guys. He's including himself in that equation.
No, definitely. Like, and
but
I think what's really great about the dialogue in this scene is that, I mean, Yang, it's really good dialogue there because Ren is in such an insecure place that he is kind of doubting not only himself but the team with valid reasoning because they are just kids. But that's the thing about when you're growing up and when you're getting into positions of responsibility. Yang really says it best. It's like, look, I can't say everything was perfect, but like, we can't do nothing. And like, I mean, I don't remember the exact quotes. You might have them, Brian, but I think Yang's responses were the correct way to kind of look at it, not only from her character perspective, but like in the overall. But I still understand where Ren is coming from. And I don't think him having those insecurities is necessarily bad or incorrect. But then I think Jean like really comes through and shows who he is as a character by not necessarily denying what Ren is saying or rejecting it, but saying, well, we have a job to do. And that's what a real huntsman would do instead.
Well, I think the core crux of the issue here, right, is that Yang and Jean are aware that they're not doing everything perfectly. Yes, things could be better, but they're doing their best. And, and as Yang said, I mean, what are we going to do? Do nothing? Like, just let Ironwood just leave Mantle for dead? Like, what, is that the alternative here? And Ren's response, like, basically, Yang asks him outright. It's like, all right, you don't like the way we're doing things. How would you do it? How would you do this better? And his response is, I don't know. And I think that really highlights exactly where the issue is that Yang knows that things aren't perfect, but she feels much more confident in her decisions because she knows she's doing her best. Ren is not confident in his decisions. He doesn't know if what they're doing is best.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where the issue lies. And
whether you do something or whether you just sort of like, it's true. They are outnumbered. They are unprepared. They are just kids, right? Like, I don't disagree with anything that he says. People are gonna die because of us, he says, and that's probably true.
Yeah,
but
and when you're in these kinds of positions, when you have to take on that kind of responsibility, there is that perfectionism. I learned kind of this recently, and I think it's something that really is a good defining trait for Ren. Perfectionism doesn't come from a place of you desire something to be perfect. It comes from a place of a fear of not being good enough or being secure. It
Yeah.
comes from a fear of not being able to do what is needed or expected, and not being able to rise to the occasion, and not having the ability, and kind of an imposter syndrome that can go to extremes. And I think Ren is a perfectionist, versus there's advantages to being able to make a decision and stand by it, even though there's going to be risk that it'll fail. If we don't have people that are willing to make decisions, like without having to sit and stew for hours on end of like, oh, but is it the perfect decision? Like I think that's why it's really nicely balanced there, that those two perspectives can kind of fight off. Because I understand where Ren is coming from, because I understand that spiral, and I'm glad that a character like that is being represented like authentically, because Ren is a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Well,
that hits real close to home.
Yeah, I would say too that, like, I think the thing that Ren is perhaps failing to see, right? You know, he's saying people are gonna die because of us, and I think, and he's right, but Yang is looking at it from the perspective of people are going to die because of what we did, but people are also going to die if we don't do something.
Correct.
So I like, one way or another, we're going to be responsible for people's deaths, and there's nothing we can do about that. So all we can do is make a decision and pick a path to go on that we think will lead to less people dying because of us.
Yes, and I think a really good moment too for Ren here, that kind of that also goes into another layer of his anxieties, the fact that he says these decisions shouldn't be up to us, because he doesn't want that responsibility. I think he's coming to terms with the fear of that responsibility, because I think he knows that's true, because inaction is still action. When you're in a position of power and responsibility and you know that you can do something and you don't, that is still a decision. And I think that fear is sinking into him, and him wanting to just shy away, go into the apathy of, well, we shouldn't make this decision, just let somebody else take care of it. But that's always a part of the hero's journey, is, you know, nobody wants to be in these situations, nobody wants to do this, but someone has to. And so they've kind of really grown into their own. And even if, you know, when Jean is, or when he says, Jean, you know, tricked your way into Beacon, Jean's response of saying like, yeah, that may be true. He accepts like responsibility for that, but then he says, you know, think what you will about me, I have a job to do. That, like, I could go on a whole other tangent on how I think Jean is just fucking killing it in this scene, but this season, in terms of the way he's developed. But I also think that really speaks true to what Ren has been the most insecure about, is being able to confidently face yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
That leadership vacuum we were talking about earlier with the Aesops and Ironwood and all that, true here too.
True for Ren. Yep. Ren really needs someone to tell him what to do. Like, he's been struggling to grow into his own, because he's been too afraid to even talk about his insecurities, like even with the person he loves the most. And like, it's just, it's really reflected here, and it's finally built up. But and so, you know, when we finish with this part of it, we'll get to the part where they're inside and John has that other conversation with Ren. But that was,
I mean, it goes back to the quote from Robyn at the beginning of the episode. When people are worried you're going to sniff out their secrets, they tend to push you away. And that's difficult.
This is exactly where our breaking point with Renora is happening, right? Like, Ren's going through some stuff, and he doesn't want to talk about it. So rather than talk about it with Nora, like someone who might understand, someone who might have, it's too big, it's too scary, it's too, you know, it's just easier to push her out. And the more she tries to get close to him, the harder he's going to push away.
Yep. And so I definitely, I mean, obviously, Ren has some stuff that he needs to work through. But I will come out and say, because I saw a lot of people in the chat. Some people were saying that they really agreed with Ren, and they didn't like the way Yang handled it, and I heard other people saying the opposite. I will say that I think that Ren's insecurities are very real and are totally valid and worth considering, and those things shouldn't be, his insecurities shouldn't be belittled. But I don't think that Yang belittled his insecurities, because what he was doing was projecting his insecurities onto the rest of them and saying that the rest of them are in the wrong, right? And so he was using his insecurities to attack Yang and Jean and the rest of the team. And so I think that, I mean, yes, Yang is historically hot-headed. I think Yang handled herself well.
Yeah, this was one of the first scenes where she was really like, again, an authority figure. I think Weiss and Yang in this episode showed that respectful, gentle authority that and Jean too, like that shows that you're becoming a real huntsman when you're willing to look action in the face and just be like, we have to make a decision. You can say what you want about me. That doesn't change the fact that I'm here to help, and I'm going to help you whether you want me to or not.
Yeah, I agree. So I think I understand where Ren is coming from, and I feel his I feel his pain with his insecurities, but he doesn't get to take that out on other people, and that's what he was doing. So I think that Ren was absolutely in the wrong in this scene.
No, he was totally out of line.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will be a way that he can learn to kind of communicate his feelings, because Ren has now become the hot-headed one. Because I saw a comment saying like, oh, I'm surprised Yang didn't slam him. And I think Yang a few seasons ago would have just been like, all right, it's punch-in time. But I think Yang, like, because true strength and power comes from being able to be respectful and gentle and try to work through things and communicate them. And Ren, instead of being like, hey guys, I've really been feeling this lately, and I'd really like to talk about it, so I can, get out of my head. But instead, he bottles it all up. He lets it slip out through passive aggressive comments, and in turn, that makes him feel even worse and more alone, which Jean comments on later. And so this is the first time he's actively tried to communicate, and that's been a consistent part of Ren's character, is that he doesn't talk much, and that understandably is going to lead to some shit, because you have to talk, you have to get it out, or it's going to turn into bullshit. And that's why I think that switcheroo of Yang and Ren being this hot-headed kind of like more emotional than rational, and Yang being more rational than emotional, was beautifully done.
Yeah, and so I'll address one last thing in the comments. It says, I think the scene goes to show that no one is right and no one is wrong. I think Ren has good points. I think that Ren, in the way he handled this, was very much in the wrong.
Yeah.
I think that Ren is more in the wrong than Yang.
Yeah, for sure.
I think both can be true. I think he can be making good and valid points that Jean and Yang don't disagree with. They know they're out of their league. They know they're in over their heads. But bottling it all up and passive aggressively blaming your teammates for it because you can't deal with your own insecurities is not a good way to handle that.
Yeah. No. It's like a good life lesson of like, you can be right, but the way you say it, like if you're an asshole about it, no one's going to want to listen to you.
Exactly.
Like, that's why good communication skills and good leadership come from communication first. Like, come from being able to understand, listen, and understand your own feelings so that you can convey them to others so that they can help you. There is absolute value and strength in communication and teamship and whatnot, and that's a lesson that Ren's gonna have to fucking learn. He's gonna have to come out of his bubble, or else it's gonna be his downfall.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Just on the slightly as the scene where I guess we're wrapping up, on a slightly more technical note, I don't know that we talk about it much on the podcast. We really don't actually. I'm not sure how much of the character movements are animated and how much are mocapped or things, but I just want to put some praise on how they did character animation in this scene. Ren's clenched fists stiff-shouldered, kind of walking around. Like, it's just very expressive from a body language sort of standpoint. And then Yang's got this kind of like, she's got her arms crossed, she's got her fists balled a few times, but she's got this sort of cooler, laid back, like she's, she's not as confrontational as Ren is being.
Yeah,
and
body
it's
language.
it's really
definitely
good.
Yeah, I also wanted to highlight something as well, kind of technical wise, in the sound. Something that I really loved about the way that this scene was designed and mixed is that as Ren gets more and more heated and the conversation gets more and more heated, we hear the sound of the wind and the snow get louder and louder as the tension rises and rises, and it builds all the way up to the point of him, turning around and snapping at John and going, "And you cheated your way into Beacon." The music cuts out, and we're left with nothing but this loud, wind and snow sound, just kind of highlighting how cold everything is. And
Yeah.
then as Jean, decides on his response, and he goes, all right, you want to be mad at me? Fine, but I have a job to do, so let's go get out of the cold. As he's walking away, and as he's saying that, all of that noise, all of that wind noise and ambience comes back down to literally as a representation of Jean de-escalating the situation.
Yeah.
It's really,
Brilliant.
really good.
Mhm.
I really want to give props to Neith Ohm for playing Ren, because
Yeah.
I had almost forgotten that Monty had played him, or that there was a difference between how he originally talked and when Neith
Yeah.
took over. Damn, Neith. I don't know if anybody's told you this, but you're doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he did. He did a really good job this episode. I think he's come into his own for sure. So
Meanwhile,
yeah.
Bad
Meanwhile,
Back at the ranch.
back at the ranch,
ranch.
back at the Killy Willy Ranch.
Back at the whale ranch.
So Oscar comes face to face with Salem.
Don't freak out.
Yeah, Ospen's like, Oscar, don't panic. You're going to be okay. And I'm just like, okay, you're just lying to him now, Ospen.
Oh my god.
So
Don't worry, she's only gonna beat you up to an inch of your life and torture you, but
You'll be
live,
fine.
that's fine.
Everything's
You're
fine. At
good.
least I won't feel it.
at least I don't know if that's true anymore, but
They're not
So-
quite linked, I don't think.
Salem immediately recognizes that Ozpin hasn't fully taken over.
Mhm.
I mean, she would. She was married to him.
Yeah. And she asks him some questions. He doesn't give her the answers that she wants. And so she torches him and then sicks Hazel on him in an effort to get him to spill what he knows. I also loved her line, "The lies come out of you so easily. Like-minded souls indeed."
Mhm.
oof.
So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about in this particular scene, but the one thing that I will say that I loved about this scene is that, and maybe you guys can tell me if you agree, I felt like this scene was the first time that I thought Salem was scary. That I found Salem legitimately intimidating.
Oh, I thought she was intimidating as fuck, but scared? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just a little jaded. She intimidated me, though. I was like, I don't want to fuck with you, but I wasn't afraid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, basically, we've kind of been told ever since her introduction how scary she is, how powerful she is.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. We were talking about this last night,
Show.
Katie. Yeah, we were talking about this last night. We've seen that exemplified in how a lot of the other characters react to her. But for us as the audience, we've never really been given a whole lot of stuff that was definitive as to like, hey, audience, here's why you should be intimidated by Salem.
Yeah, like, because I would have really liked if maybe early on they would have, like, and if this happened, I don't remember, but if they would have shown us her like torturing someone or her like killing like a lead in plain blood, like, or like doing a lot of that maniacal shit that the villains have probably seen her do. Like, we can definitely gather that she's done that shit in front of them based on their reactions, but I would have loved to get a POV there so that I could feel that.
Well,
And
she does.
something
What
sooner would
what
have probably
season?
also helped with that.
What season does she? I think it's after maybe it's season 6, where she kind of beats up Hazel. Right? There's a whole scene where she like flips the table and like brings him to the ground with like shadow tendrils.
Yeah,
and is,
but
like,
he doesn't. She doesn't really hurt him though. She's just like trying to scare him a little bit, and like, I mean, you could also say I would honestly say that I think the scene where she's choking out Lionheart is
Yeah,
scarier
actually,
than the scene with Hazel.
I was just thinking
I
that
mentioned
scene
that too,
is the
yeah.
closest that I can remember to a scene where I was like, oh, she means some business. Because, like, yeah, the tentacles from the little, like orb thing
Yeah.
taking him down, and he was like, please, no, and he's, like, innocent. Like, I think that was actually a pretty good scene in terms of establishing some intimidation, but, like, it didn't fully put me there. Like, I can agree. Like, I think that there could have been maybe... Yeah.
Well, I think also part of
it
it was the fact that, she was doing things remotely, right? She wasn't doing things herself.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we've really seen her do harm to someone with her own 2 hands.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of just being like, oh, I'll let them handle it.
Yeah, so I think that, so I was really jazzed about this scene because I was like, oh man, like, this is the first time that I am actually feeling like real intimidation with this character. So the scene kind of helped rectify a bit of an issue that I've had for quite a while with Salem.
Yeah. Do you think it had anything to do with the voice acting? Because I'm gonna say that the blood curdling scream was hard to listen to.
Yeah, I think that played a part in it. I also, I mean, even before she did the attacking, just the way that they were visually presenting her at the beginning of the scene, I think really helped sell it. Where it's like you had that POV from Oscar's point of view, right? Where, and she's kind of shrouded in the shadow, and she's kind of like playing with her magic in the corner, and like that was like, and her eyes are glowing red and stuff. That I think really kind of set the tone for the scene.
Is it just me, or have they kind of like, and I can't believe I'm the one saying, have they upped the sexiness factor on her a little bit, you think?
I mean, they upped the
saying.
sexiness factor
You're
on
going
her
to horny jail,
in
bonk.
Volume 7 because now she's got the titty window.
She's
my
got
God.
a lot of cleavage going on. I'm
Yeah.
just like, there's this evil villainess that's like, I was just watching a very excellent YouTube documentary series on a thing, but like on different archetypes in action movies for female characters, and she very much fits this sort of like sexy violence kind of archetype that's used a lot. That's like, you don't know whether you're like, oh, that's it, but also like, oh, scary. And not to say that these tropes are are good necessarily or well written, as a lot of them are not. But it's just interesting that that's sort of the direction they're going with her.
Well, I think I think that it. You're right. I think it is a well-established trope. I've seen the trope done well, and I've seen the trope done very poorly. But I don't think that the concept of it itself is necessarily bad.
No,
because look. I mean, you ask any socially awkward guy, and I think they'll tell you that sexy women are scary.
Jesus Christ.
Fair enough.
Can confirm.
Strong. I think we need to reverse that. It's strong women are sexy.
Mhm.
It's powerful women that could step on you that are sexy.
Scary.
It's
Mhm.
fair.
Salem does both of those things.
It's true. It's true. Like she yeah. But yeah, after the Oscar scene, we get to the hallway.
Yes, we
Cinder.
do.
Okay.
Ooh.
One brief thing. I just want this
Mhm.
very minor point. This is the first time I've noticed Salem's little ring that she has that like holds her sleeve things on
Uh-huh.
is a bug, which is
Oh.
really reminiscent of that glove that Cinder used in one of the, or like I think season 3, or was it?
Yeah, it was
4,
season 3.
to suck out the maiden powers from the Fall Maiden back in the day.
Oh.
So Salem's got this bug thing going on. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I'm just saying there's a bug theme happening.
Mhm.
Also, I do have to note before that we move on, she is petting the hound in the scene, which he's
Yeah,
getting
she
close
is.
before she blasts him.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
That is
I
the
also
first
want to
time I've
comment
noticed
on
that she's done something like that.
the sound design there, like, cause oh my god, it was kind of that ASMR like scritching noise,
Mhm.
like that. It's like a very soothing, but because of the circumstances, it's very scary. But the
Mhm.
scritchy noise of her nails on the beast was very like, ooh, it was like real.
It's a moment of affection that she shows, not towards
Yeah.
any human character, but towards a monster.
Which again gets us into that next scene, which I really want to talk about first. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. So, all right, when we move into the next scene with Cinder, kind of, I wouldn't say confronting, because it's not like a hey, listen here, bitch. It's more of a like, my liege. It's more of a master, please. I wish to blah. And so Cinder's kind of going up, starting with, please let me do this. I think I want,
Well,
and then
before
Salem.
that happens, there's
Mhm.
there's an important point to mention, and I think that this kind of gets exemplified more throughout the scene, with Salem kind of keeping Cinder at an arm's length, but
Mhm.
Cinder asks Salem what the hell Smarty Marty is, and
Yes.
Salem just
Yes.
simply responds, "It's an experiment."
Yes, correct. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that happened after the conversation or before,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right, it happens before. And on that note, I think it was some really interesting foreshadowing, and maybe potentially some not full confirmation, but the theory we talked about last episode of the podcast, with what if Cinder's on the track to become that? Because of course Salem wouldn't tell her that. Like, I think that this
Nope.
experiment is potentially made of people that maybe Cinder's kind of a cocoon phase of becoming that. And I think that another element of that is, of the foreshadowing for that potentially being true, is when Cinder says like that, I think I want, to go get the maiden powers. And Salem is like, isn't that cute? She thinks she wants. Like
Mhm.
kind of implying, like, the only things that I care about and have interest in are things that are subservient to me. And like, she's kind of treating Cinder in that moment no different than the grim dog. Like, I don't want to hear about your thinks and wants. I want you to obey. That is the only way that you're worth anything to me. And like, she even makes like a comment about like, yeah, this is an experiment that I'm, enjoying so far, because it's a dog that only listens to what she says and doesn't talk.
Mhm. Well, it does talk, but
Well, in terms of talk back, I guess.
It
Like,
doesn't talk back. Yeah.
it
it
does
has the
ask
ability
for.
to talk back, and it doesn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think she
yeah.
very much enjoys the fact that it doesn't speak unless spoken to.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Maybe that's a better way to say it. But yeah, I think that those are some big takeaways I had from that scene, is Salem's obvious buildup of disdain towards Cinder, and just looking at her as like, I'm not putting any trust in you. I'm not this or that. Like, you're just here to serve. You're just here to not speak, but just do the orders that I give. You're not your own person. You're what I want you to be. Even though Cinder, understandably, like, wants to be trusted, wants to,
Mhm.
serve, because she wants to feel that fulfillment. and be useful. Like,
In fairness to Salem, though, Cinder doesn't have the best track record.
No, it's true. It's true. Like Salem is totally, evil justified in wanting her to do the things the way that she wants to. But that's the thing, is when your team is consisted of people that, I mean, when Cinder just says, "I'm nothing without you," that kind of mindset doesn't breed a healthy relationship.
No, God, no.
And and it doesn't breed a good environment where you're probably going to get the best results. Like, but Salem is more interested in keeping that arm's length control and just having mindless people instead of people that also can serve themselves. Even though having a team of people where everyone kind of has something to gain from it, especially respect, can sometimes create better results than this fear thing. And that's why I think when people do turn away from Salem, it'll kind of come from that place. But yeah, I think in this moment there was definite foreshadowing, and I'd be willing to call it that Cinder is on a direct path to becoming one of those things.
Yeah.
Do you think Salem's, because she's had a long time to work on this, right? And probably she's been able to bully people with lots of money. And do you think she's got, like, in her citadel, wherever it is, like a room with just a bunch of, like, people in tubes, and they're getting pumped in with, like, grim stuff, and it's just like this whole science creepy thing going on? Because I feel like
I don't think it would be tubes. I think it would be like the tubes themselves would be made up of grim stuff.
It's all organic.
It's all organic. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Cinder is the first experiment that she's letting walk around. Maybe. Like,
maybe Cinder's goopy arm was like a test for Smarty Marty.
Yeah. Well, we know, because bringing up the glove thing again, right? In order to steal Amber's powers. Amber. Cinder needed this special glove that has some sort of bug connection to, say, I don't know, maybe Salem is filled with bugs. Maybe she's Oogie Boogie. I don't know. But, now she's got the goopy arm, and my guess is that goopy arm does that too, right? So she's upgraded the technology somewhat.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so basically, Salem shuts Cinder down and is like, "You're not, you do what I say, and I say you stay here." And Cinder is immediately like, "Well, I'm not gonna do that," which I feel like not the best idea. Kind of shows Cinder's level of judgment in that, she just said no to a god.
A little bit.
I think that says less about her judgment and more about her survival instincts.
But for once, this is
his judgment and survival instincts go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think this is also kind of showing that Cinder is in a, because it kind of directly conflicts with her.
She wants Salem to acknowledge her
so badly that she'll even defy her for a chance to get that acknowledgement, because it directly defies what she had just said previously of, like, I am nothing without you, like, I am absolutely 100% loyal. It's like, well, if that were true, like, if you were like again, like the dog that she pets, if you were already there, you would have just gone and sat in a room and, like, you would have been suffering, but you would have just not gone anywhere. But you still
I think the bottom line is Cinder is to Salem what Emerald is to Cinder.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We've known that pecking order for years now.
And so, so Cinder decides that she's gonna leave. She says she just wants to check something. She wants to make sure nothing is happening at Amity, and she cites her deep understanding of the main cast, which, to be fair, she kind of nailed it.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're not going to be doing nothing.
She does know some stuff that Cinder does, or that Salem doesn't. And can I look? There's nothing plot-wise to talk about with this, but can we talk about Neo being Mary Poppins?
Yes. Brian. I want to dedicate an hour to this. No. Oh my God, Neo,
Like-
so cute. I hope we're gonna get some good Neo soon, because I hope they're not just gonna let her be there and be sassy. But I also want to comment on that note that Cinder, as soon as she's off screen from Salem, is like, listen, I'm just doing this. She's talking as if Neo was like, what are you doing there, Cinder? Like,
Yeah.
bitch, Neo's just like, bitch, I'm just here. I'm just like,
It
I'm just
seems like she's
fucking
trying to
vibing.
convince herself.
No, yeah, she's projecting in that moment. It's so
Yeah.
funny because you can tell that Neo's like, I mean, sure, go off, bitch. I'm just trying to fucking vibe. Like,
It's like,
I
and
don't
once
wanna
again,
be
it's
this
like
whale.
it's that King's Game moment where it's like we didn't leave him for dead. Like we had no choice. Like it's our own survival. Like this is a survival game. It's like no. Nobody was blaming you. Nobody said any of those
Nobody
things.
said those things to you. This is all you, bitch. Like, damn.
Like,
And I have a theory. I think that this Mary Poppins moment too of Neo, like the look on her face says it all. I think that when they leave that whale, I don't think Neo's coming back to that whale.
I don't think so either.
yeah, I think Neo took a look around and was like, "Yeah, I'm good, fam."
Yeah, like sure,
Dude, whale
let's
guts.
low key, let's
Not
fucking go. Like honestly, Neo is probably in the mindset of like, oh, you want to go? Cool. Like I'm already kind of like not feeling it here. They don't really care that I'm here. Let's go. Like I'll do more shit with you, I guess. But I'm getting to a point, fam, where, yeah.
Yeah.
Also-
So, but that's when, she's basically like, Neo is kind of like being like, yeah, I don't know if I want to go with you, Cinder. Like, I don't know that I'm digging not just everything that's happening here, but also the way you're treating me.
Yeah.
And that's when Emerald shows up and is like, well, I'll go.
Mhm.
So Emerald overheard quite a bit, and so it seems like Cinder is actually inclined to let Emerald go with her.
Yeah.
Which I think will mark the first time that either Emerald or Mercury have done anything of any major importance in
5
4
years.
A little bit.
Long time.
It's a long ass time. Too fucking long.
Yep.
And that is where that scene ends.
Do we want to just talk about the giant floating like jellyfish or Zerg overlords or whatever the heck those things are in the distance? Like,
oh yeah,
there's just jellyfish Grim out in the sky. Okay, cool. I'm sure that'll be relevant later.
They're going for a sea theme here.
Yeah.
I wonder though, doesn't that mean that Salem could see them leaving? That's what I would assume.
I mean, I feel like there's a part of Salem that's like playing some chess games where she's like, where she like tells Cinder like, oh, don't do this, but like Salem walked away going, that bitch is totally gonna do that.
Do you think Salem buys the? Yes, I am nothing without you, my liege.
Oh no!
Come on.
Nah, she doesn't believe that
I
shit
think
for a
Salem
minute.
is so far detached and just doing her own shit. She's just like, I want to rule them with fear, and she knows that there isn't like a true, genuine connection, but she does know for certain that they are desperately wanting her validation.
I think
That's
she
something
does.
she's used to.
But we also need to remember, I feel like there's no part of Salem that doesn't know what's going on. This is the same Salem that when everyone was like, oh shit, I guess Cinder is dead, Salem was like, yeah, no, we'll see about that.
Well,
Yeah.
When
Like,
you're
I
an all-powerful god, like, so what if she runs away and does her own thing? What is she gonna do? Defy you? Do something you don't want? Like, she'll just come in and take whatever she needs,
Yeah. So that takes us to the very last scene of the episode, which is Yang and crew. They make it to the outpost.
Yeah.
And we've got a wonderful dialogue scene here where Jean talks to Ren. He fully acknowledges that he cheated his way into Beacon. Talks about his struggle to overcome that and all that stuff. And essentially warns Ren, hey, look, if you push people away, it's just gonna make things worse. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. And then Ren goes full angst and just decides to sit out in the cold.
Yeah.
Yep, he doubles down.
Yeah,
So angst.
another bad sign.
Yeah. So then Yang finds a part to fix the bike. And as they're having, as she's talking to Jean, she reassures Jean, like, hey, it wasn't cool that he said that to you. Like, I want you to know that, like, I don't think that. None of the rest of us think that. But then, she kind of has her own little moment of, vulnerability where, she asks, hey, do you think that she thinks less of me for not helping with Amity? And Jean instinctively thinks, oh, you must be talking about RWBY because you just had a fight with RWBY. And he's like, oh, no, you're sisters. Like, you'll be totally fine. Right? And
Yang has a not too subtle...
Yeah, RWBY. It's like, oh!
We're talking about Blake here. Uh-huh.
Bumblebee strikes again.
God damn it.
Mira strikes again!
Actually, like subtly this time. Like it
yeah,
was.
this is. I'm gonna be real with you guys. This is the best written Bumblebee moment that we've had yet.
Oh, actually, okay. I'm gonna be real for a second. When she first said that, I low-key thought it was a reference to Pyrrha.
Oh, deep cut.
Nah,
Deep
this
cut,
is
but I don't
definitely
think so.
Bumblebee.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, now that you're talking, I think I think it does make more sense that it's a reference to Blake because it's about Amity, which is why I was a little confused at first about how it could be about Pyrrha. I was like, but it felt like it made sense because when Jean said, like, when you push people away, it leads to bad things. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. I think in my head I was like, oh man, he's thinking about Pyrrha. And like when they were having that discussion, when Yang and Jean were talking about, like, I think you've come a long way, and Jean, I don't remember his exact response, was just kind of being like, yeah, like I've over the years seen some shit. Like I don't remember exactly what he said. But then when Yang talked, I thought it was a little come around of like, man, like you've come so far, and like, you've seen so much stuff, and like Pyrrha, I never really, like, I always thought she was pretty badass and I never really thought about it, but like, do you think she was like, do you think she respected me? Like, it was, I don't know, that was the way my mind interpreted that scene. Like,
I mean, that's I don't disagree with that, but
yeah,
I don't know
if
that's what the scene was, but
I'm pretty sure it was Blake.
Yeah, no,
I'm like a good 99% positive it was Blake.
Yeah, I'm fairly positive. If it was Pyrrha, I'm sure we would have heard her name dropped at least some point during the episode to put us in that position.
I don't think that there would have been a reason for her to kind of like necessarily hide if who she was talking about, if she was talking about Pyrrha.
Yeah, no, Blake makes much more sense though, and I like that more.
Yeah, so I think, and I agree with you, Forrest. Like, this is like, ever since Volume 7, we've gotten a lot more Bumblebee moments, and we've historically complained about how kind of forced a lot of those moments felt. This was the first unforced Bumblebee moment I felt since Volume 8. Or since Volume 7, excuse me. Where I was like, that played really well and really naturally and made sense in every part of it.
Completely agree. Yeah, I think we were talking last season, like you gotta sell it to us first, right? You gotta
it's not that we're opposed to Bumblebee, but like you have to make it make sense to us.
I don't know about you, I'm opposed to Bumblebee. I'm the only person here voting for Black Sun. Get out of here.
Yeah, but that's your
sorry.
ship will never sail. Get over it.
No, I have to hold out hope.
It already sailed. They were on a boat. Never mind.
Damn it! Forrest is right. What have I been doing with my entire life?
Yeah. So.
God.
But yeah, so we had this little Bumblebee moment there, and Jean mentions, oh man, I'm really worried about Oscar. It's like, yeah, that's fair. He's kind of being tortured right now.
A little bit.
But decides that he's just gonna try and get some sleep, and he leaves the episode off saying things always seem to get worse before they get better. Cue giant monster cracking ice.
Yeah. The
Do
namesake of this episode.
something under the eye. Yep, there's the pun.
There's the pun.
Oh.
Oh.
Uh,
What do you think's under the ice?
Another dragon. Another
Here's
big
my theory.
fuck off dragon.
Here's
We
my theory.
have-
So last episode when we had Bill from accounting that spilled his coffee, there was a sign that said, "Don't bring food and drinks in here." And there was a Grim we hadn't met before. There was a little whale sharky boy Grim. I think it's that.
shit, you might be right.
Land shark. Attack.
Fucking land shark.
Oh my
No.
god.
I mean, it is ice, so I guess it wouldn't actually be at land.
Close enough, dude. Close enough.
I mean,
That's,
we have whales that travel in the sky. Why can't we have sharks that travel on land? Like, come on.
At this point, I'm rooting for Sky Kraken, so I can't tell you otherwise. But I like the idea of it being another dragon, just because we've had this theory for a while that like every continent, right, in Remnant has like a giant grim dragon on it somewhere. Because if you kind of look at the map that was drawn, all of the continents, especially the one that nobody lives on, that's definitely not Salem's home base. Definitely not.
I also saw a theory. What design won that Grim competition?
Oh.
I
I
don't
don't
recall.
remember. It was like it was something. I feel
The
like
Wendigo?
no. The Wendigo got disqualified.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the other two. Silverfish.
Oh, fish. Mm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like, I mean, it's possible, but I feel like since they're making this Grim such a big deal, or building this Grim up to be such a big deal, I feel like this isn't going to. This is a Grim that has plot relevance, so that can't just be just anything, whatever the other, contestants came up with. So I feel like we will see the Grim competition Grim at some point. But I don't think that's going to be this Grim. I don't think that it's a smart idea to leave a plot-heavy Grim design up to the fans without the fans knowing what the Grim is supposed to be for.
That's fair.
Yeah. Is it just me? So we've had a bunch of really big monster type of Grims, right?
Are we gonna have to name another Grim?
Well,
Maybe.
maybe, but like we've had all of our fan favorites, right? Scary Larry, Swimmy Jimmy, Killy Willy. We've got the dragon. We've got a lot of really cool big monster Grim. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping this Grim is less of that and more of something with more of a psychological kind of thing. Because honestly, the scariest Grim I think we've seen was the zombie guys on that one abandoned farm.
Yeah, the apathy.
The apathy.
Yeah.
Like they definitely had the scariest like vibe to them of any of the Grim that we've seen. And I'm kind of hoping for something that's a little more along those lines, but who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? If they can come up with something like that, they could definitely come up with something that will make us shit our pants.
Yeah. So, that brings us to the end of the episode. But before we go completely and do all of our outro stuff, there was something that I wanted to talk about, which is, now that we've gone through the whole episode, I really loved this episode. I thought that this was a really great episode from beginning to end, and it might even be one of my favorite episodes in the entire series, just because I thought it was so well crafted, so well put together. The dialogue was really well written. Everything made sense. There was no, hey, why the fuck didn't he use that move at the beginning of the fight? And Katie and I, we were talking about this last night. The show, one of the biggest issues that the show I think has had over the years is it takes forever for the other shoe to drop with this show.
Yeah.
right? Like with Emerald and Mercury being sidelined for so long, and
Mhm.
having Ren starting his brooding back in volume 7, and having that not that doesn't really come of anything in volume 7,
Like, they're
right?
really nice shoes, but when you wait so long to put them on, they're gonna get covered in dust and worn out before you even get to wear them.
Yeah. And so like that has been one of the consistently the big one of the biggest issues with the show, um is that oftentimes when the other shoe drops, it's pretty cool, but
Yeah,
it
and
just
it's good
takes a
shit.
really long time. And so I
Yeah.
think that the reason why I loved this episode so much is because there were so many shoes that dropped in this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
And we
There
weren't waiting
was
until the end of the episode for the end of episode cliffhanger we usually get.
Yeah, there was I mean we had Ren going off. We had freaking and just like a lot of we had Salem actually becoming intimidating, and we saw
Bumblebee,
sorry
Bumblebee moments,
we
like
Bumblebee making some real progress, like, and there was a lot of other things where it's like the other shoe hasn't quite dropped yet, but it's very clear that from the forward momentum that it's getting very, very close. Like how since volume 3 we've been talking about Emerald defecting, and now Emerald has finally become relevant again, so it's like, oh shit, that might actually happen now. Like we've been waiting for years, right?
Yeah.
As well as yeah, just all like there was not a single part of this episode that didn't move things forward in a substantial way.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it turned out, yeah, same stuff with Whitley. Like we're really building up some stuff with Whitley. And yeah, everything was so well balanced, so well paced. None of the scenes left me going, oh, I wish we had a little bit more of that, or oh, I wish we hadn't spent as much time on this. Like, from a structural objective standpoint, I think that this is one of the best crafted episodes in the show thus far.
Mhm. Yeah, I 100% agree.
I'm
I'm
not
ready for
sure
more.
if I'm ready to give it the one of the best episodes, because maybe my opinion of the show is maybe a little twisted because of how long the show has been going on and the format it's been in. But I'll definitely get
Mhm.
back to you when we've given it some time to settle, because I think you might be onto something there.
I'm
Yeah.
just yeah, I just we've had a lot of episodes where things have moved very slowly or practically nothing has happened. And a lot of shit happened in this episode, and all of it was executed, I thought, really, really well, which we don't always get with this show.
there is a
Mhm.
little
Agreed.
bit of a consistency problem.
So yeah, I really liked this episode, and I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Kruby with the C
Mhm.
for the just putting together a really awesome episode. This was a really fantastic episode, I thought.
Mhm.
Agreed.
So good.
Um,
But heck yeah.
Predictions?
yeah, predictions. I think next episode we're gonna swap back to Team Ruby.
Mhm.
And hopefully maybe we'll get a little bit more Whitley. Hoping to get a little more villains. I imagine we'll probably spend a little bit more time with Ironwood.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Ah, that's true. I mean, we really do need to hear from him more. Like, think about it. We've seen him episode 1, heard from him in maybe, I think, a little bit of episode 2, and then 2 episodes,
Yeah,
nothing?
I think we're gonna bounce to Watts again.
Yeah, I can see that. Also,
I
gotta
think so,
say
yeah.
the Christian who says "fuck Whitley." Why is he even a character? How dare you?
Brian will eat your soul.
I love Whitley. I love that little shit.
Oh, such a
Yeah,
little shit.
same. I'm going to enjoy him more when I'm going to be able to say, this is what you look like back in volume 4 or 5. Here's what you look like now. Aren't you a better person?
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Eventually.
But yeah, I think we're
Uh,
gonna jump back to that hacking Penny plot point. I I think there's gonna be some jailbreak soon. We've been in the cells with Crow and with Robin and Jacques like twice now. But I think that soon, either this next episode or the episode after that, the next time we see them in the cells, they're gonna be breaking out.
Ooh, another thing that I think would be really cool to see, we might be getting some more Penny, like arriving at Amity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah, I
to be
think that's-
hacked.
Oh, not yet, but
I mean,
they
they did
may
just
lay
put
the
Watts
groundwork
back in
for
there.
that.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
the hacking
Watts
would happen
Ironwood.
next episode, but like it might show Watts, about to succeed in doing it, and then the next episode would be like,
I'm sorry. Anime as art just said Whitley isn't evil enough. Whitley isn't evil enough. He's the Diet Coke of evil.
Damn.
Oh my
1
God.
calorie, not evil enough.
oh my
Damn.
God.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
That's wonderful.
The Diet Coke of evil.
Oh my God. I love
That's
it.
such a great.
Oh my God.
uh,
I'm gonna argue something different. I don't think that Whitley is the Diet Coke of evil because I don't think he's ever gonna truly get evil. I think Jacques Schnee is the Diet Coke of evil, and Whitley is the fucking like 0-calorie Sprite that's trying to be the Diet Coke, but isn't gonna get there.
He's the knockoff Safeway brand of.
Oh damn.
Coke.
yeah, he's like, yeah, fucking Jacques is like Diet Coke, and Whitley is some bullshit called Diet Cook.
Yeah.
He's the Safeway Select brand.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes.
Like he wants to be his dad so bad, but he's not going to, and it's gonna be a good thing that he's not going to.
Whitley's like Jamba Juice that wishes he's Diet Coke.
Oh my God! Why would Jamba Juice wish it's Diet Coke? Actually, that
I
does
think
sum
you
up
just
RWBY.
insulted
Why would you
Jamba
want
Juice.
to be Jacques?
Oh my
Why
God.
would you want to be Jacques Schnee? Did the Jamba Juice raise you as a child? Because if so, this metaphor has gone beyond my scope.
Did
wanna
Jamba
be raised
Juice
by
raise
Jamba
you as a
Juice.
child?
I can imagine that he was so high and mighty that he didn't drink coffee. He drank Jamba Juice. It's better for
God.
you.
What has happened?
Oh,
That's
man.
what Whitley got for his birthday, Jamba Juice gift cards.
Oh my God.
Well,
I'm gonna fucking die.
I think that's all we've got time for.
I think so.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will, of course, be back the same time next week to talk about Chapter 5, whatever the hell its name is going to be.
Yep.
Yeah, you can obviously you can find us here on the RWBY channel. You can also find me at Hubbard Audio on Twitter. I'm also at Hubbard Audio in the RWBY Discord server, both the Patreon and the public. So you can find me there. Ian, where can they find you?
Well, if you weren't here for the opening, hi, I'm an admin for the RWBY Productions Discord server, as well as running the tech stuff back here. If you're having a problem with the RWBY Productions Discord server in any way, let me know. I am Ventress on the server, and I'll be more than happy to hear what you have to say.
Hell yeah. Forrest, where can they
Oh.
find you?
I'll be right here next week talking about RWBY. That's
Hell yeah.
That's right. That's where I exist.
Hell yeah. And Katie, how about you?
Woo! You can find me. I'm Katie. I go by Connie Day on the internet. I'm a voice actress thingy online, Kaniday. But at RWBY, I'm a producer and director and an actress. I play Schnee, Penny, Cinder, and Velvet for the channel, and I've done some writing for us too. And of course, you can find RWBY at RWBYABRG on Twitter. Please follow us on Twitter if you would like to see some silly stuff, and of course us posting about RWBY. And of course, you can also find us on Discord. RWBY Productions, our public Discord. You can find that in the link below. You can also join our Patreon Discord. If you become a Patreon at $2 is the lowest tier, but any tier has access to the server. And in the server, we sometimes have fun events. And currently, we are doing every weekend. We're doing a RWBY watch party. This most previous weekend, we watched episode 3 because we like to watch the episodes when they come out for free. So this coming weekend, this coming Saturday, we're going to be talking about the episode that we just talked about today. So if you want to come in and talk to us about it and watch it again, maybe theorize, give us some of your theories. One of your theories could end up on the podcast.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
It's really fun. Cool stuff.
Hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you all next week. Bye!
Bye-bye.
What the fuck was that, Katie?
That's my semblance.
Oh God, what a terrible semblance.